Everybody, this is Jarrett. I want to give a quick training on how to approach different organizations about the Doobly opportunity. So it's going to be I'm going to talk about approaching for-profit organizations as well as non-profit organizations. There are going to be some slight differences when you talk to those different types of organizations. However, in this training, I'm just going to kind of do a more generalized type of approach. There are going to be some additional trainings where we'll break down different techniques for different types of organizations. But there are some basic principles that are the same across the board, whether you're talking to a nonprofit or a for-profit, a big company, a small company, an individual, whatever it may be. There's some basic principles that are very useful and helpful. Now, if you really like a script and you want to use a script, go for it. And you feel free to create your own script from some principles that you are, from your experience and principles that you've learned, and maybe take something from this, hopefully. But I don't really like scripts and word script, or what it implies. To me, it kind of says, if you do this, 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 and this, then this will be your result. And it kind of puts you in this little box where you think that if you follow the system and your script exactly, then nothing else, and you stay within your little box, then nothing can go wrong, nothing gets outside of that. But in reality, every person is different, every organization is different, every interaction is different. People are going to have different questions, people are going to have different concerns, and that's what matters, is the people and their concerns, and that's what we need to be able to do, is to address them and not just go through a checklist of say this, 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 and this. So with that said, I've come up with this, the word I like to use kind of as a flow. So I've come up with this flow that seems to be a fairly successful type of flow for a conversation, the direction you want the conversation to go when you are talking to an organization or an individual, a decision maker. So before this flow ever starts, you need to have your homework done about the organization. You need to have your research done as much as possible. If it is a nonprofit organization, you need to have visited their website. You need to have studied their 990. If it's a small business or a big business, no matter what size it is, you need to know as much as possible. Small businesses, there might not be a ton of information. They may or may not have a website. They may or may not have a very long history, or whatever they do have, you need to be familiar with. And that is a huge part of what we do and how we can be successful. And so basically, that's you putting in the work. If you put in the work, then the conversation and the interaction with them and the sales meeting is just kind of secondary almost. Because if you put in the prior work, then everything else is going to come a lot more naturally. So it's also important to remember that putting in the work also includes putting in the work as far as understanding your end, knowing our service, knowing the Doobly system, knowing exactly how it works from A to Z. You're not going to tell them A to Z. You're not going to overeducate them at the beginning, but you need to have that background knowledge of what we do, and then you need to have the background knowledge of what they do and what they are and who they are. So once you've done that, then you can start up a dialogue, because then you'll have good questions to ask, and you'll have answers for their questions. So, one more thing before I move on, actually. By doing that work, putting in the work to get to know them, you can't fake the time that it takes to know an organization. You can't fake the time that it takes to know a Form 90 in and out, to understand the logistics of an organization. You can't fake that time. And they're going to be able to see that. They're going to be able to see that you took that time, and they're going to see that you care enough about what you are doing and what you're bringing to them to take you seriously. And that's critically important, is that they see that you care about what you're doing and that you care about them. We're a people-centered business, guys. We are all about helping people, from saving customers money and getting them cash back on everyday purchases, to helping them afford things they wouldn't be able to otherwise afford, to helping businesses increase revenue so that they can expand, do whatever they need to do, to helping charitable organizations have increased funding so that they can go out and do more good in the world. All of these things, all of the system that we represent is about helping people. And so if we can properly express that through our actions and through our preparation, those that we talk to and we work with are going to see that, and that is the key. That's what's going to unlock doors. That's what's going to open checkbooks and help them receive money and help you get paid as well. But it starts with being genuine and real in your desire to help them. So anyways, now once you've done all this homework and you've got it done and you know them fairly well, you can be confident going into a conversation. There are 4 key points. There are a lot of points, but there are 4 that I kind of have come up with that have been beneficial in my experience. So point number 1, point number 1 here, you want to connect to the organization somehow. So that means you've done your research. That means you bring something up. This isn't necessarily in an order. These are just 4 basic principles to remember throughout the conversation. You want to connect with them. You want to be able to compliment them. These things are kind of related. But you want to compliment something that they have done, because people like to be complimented. It's a great way to just build a relationship. But remember, it can't be fake. You can't, dig it out of nowhere. You have something genuine because you've done your research. You want to be able to describe to them that they're going to be able to receive revenue or funding through the Doobly system without necessarily focusing on it. They're going to be able to continue doing what they're doing and then just implement the system and integrate it, and they keep doing what they're doing. They keep selling burritos. They keep building sustainability projects in third world countries. Whatever they do, they keep doing it, and then they just integrate this system and get additional funding and revenue. 4th thing is you want to convey to them that they may or may not be selected, that we are, we offer a service that is somewhat exclusive. Obviously we know that we want everyone to do it. We want to get as many customers as possible, and we want to use as many networks as possible to get those customers. But if you can convey to them that what we have is, top line and it's kind of exclusive, then it changes the atmosphere of a sale to more of an interview type of setting where we are interviewing them to see if we fit them. Obviously, they need to know that we fit for their organization as well. But especially when it comes to like nonprofit organizations, we're not paying anything and we are footing the bill entirely. It's important to kind of get this point across that, hey, look, I want to help you and I'm intrigued by your work and I respect what you do, but we need to make sure that you are a fit for us. And that kind of takes pressure off of you, and it takes the sales pressure off of them to, I hate being sold. I don't want to be talking to the salesman. But if they're talking to someone who's like, has something great to offer them, and then they're trying to say, no, look, we can do this. My organization's great for this. It changes that setting, and it makes the dialogue and the conversation more profitable for both parties and more effective. So those are just 4 basic principles to kind of remember that I've found to be useful. So then see here, do your background and research and homework. We already talked about that. This right here I have highlighted and bolded and big because it's critical. A lot of people fall into the trap when they're making a sale of, maybe you get to know them and then you say, well, great, awesome, now let me talk to you for 10 minutes straight without interruption. And that's the wrong way to go about it. Don't talk too much, because if you're talking, that means they're not talking, which means you don't know what concerns and problems they have, and you don't know how to address those concerns. a dialogue. It's a conversation. It's an interaction back and forth. It's not a talking to. It's not a sales to. It's together discussing this Doobly opportunity. And the primo way to create that is by asking questions. So at the beginning of the conversation, you get to know them, and once you're transitioning more into once you've gotten to know them and their organization a little bit better, and now you're transitioning into more of a presentation type mode where you're going to start presenting a little bit more information. These 2 bullet points are great ideas. Again, just guidelines and ideas. Take them for what they're worth. But I found them to be successful if you ask something like, if I can show you how to increase revenue without taking focus away from what you're doing now, would you like to know how to achieve that? Or if I could show you how to fully monetize all the contacts and clients you have, would you be interested? See, this is getting them thinking about what you're going to be showing them. And by asking them this question, where obviously the answer is yes, because who doesn't want those things, then they're already in a positive mindset of yes. And then at the end of the conversation, at the end of the dialogue, at the end of the call, the end of the meeting, you come back to this question again, and you kind of remind them that they've already said yes to this, and now that you've shown them, they're ready to go because they already said yes, and now and then you showed them how to do that. This question right here is also a great introduction to if you're just maybe at a local shop or whatever, and you are talking to the owner. It's a great conversation starter to get a meeting. Say something like, "Hey, I know you're busy. I'm pretty busy too. I only have a minute, but I just wanted to ask you if I could show you how to increase the revenue from your current customer base, if that would be something you'd be interested in learning how to do." So that, and you pose it in I'm busy, you're busy. Let's just get him to say yes right now. Say, okay, of course I'd like to know how to make more money from my current customer base. Okay, awesome. Well, can I get your number? I'll give you a call. What time's good for you? Now you have a meeting. They're already interested. They're thinking they have this foundational knowledge of what we're going to bring them is going to make them more money. So what I'm saying is this type of question is also great for just setting up an appointment or an initial contact. At the beginning, it's also another tactic, instead of asking a question like this, to say, I'm going to show you how to increase revenue by monetizing current customers without taking focus off what you do best, or I'm going to show you how to make more money from your current customer base. And when you pose it that way, it's a promise. And then at the end of the conversation, when you have shown them that, you have fulfilled the promise. You have shown them how to do it. And now you're a lot more trustworthy and a lot more credible because you promised something and you've fulfilled and delivered, which builds a solid foundation for the relationship going forward, which is important because once we make a sale, our job is just beginning. We got to be their go-to all throughout the process. And so from the very beginning, making a promise and keeping that promise sets a solid foundation for both of us to be successful moving forward. So once you've talked to them, you got to know them, you've asked this type of question, or you've made this type of promise, you want to start telling them about us, tell them about Doobly, about the founder, about Michael, about Blas, whatever, whoever you deem important to edify, to bring credibility to the organization as a whole. Then you want to start showing them how they can make money, show them how the system would work, how they could implement it. And that, guys, is another great opportunity for a great question, because you have gotten to know them. You've gotten to know how their operation works. And so you could say something like, hey, you mentioned you have approximately 50 unique customers a day come into your store. So now you've explained to them how the Doobly system works and how they can offer it to these people, memberships. You could say, how do you think you could implement offering memberships in your store while you're doing your normal business? Then they say, well, as you're checking out, maybe it gets them thinking already. You see what I'm saying? So as you're asking these questions, you're getting this dialogue, and you're getting the same information across, but instead of you saying it, you're asking great questions with information that you have to get them to say it. And then they're thinking, wow, this is a great idea. And as it's coming out of their mouth, they're thinking, wow, this is a great idea, and it's my great idea. And people are much more likely to follow that path if it's their idea. And it's going to be their idea. You're going to ask great questions to kind of lead them there, but they're going to come up with the idea. So, great time then to show them maybe an example of a profit sharing using their numbers, using their organization. So once you get to this point and you've shown them, you've talked to them about them, you've talked to them about us and how the system can work, and you've asked questions, you've got them already thinking about how it can work. If it's time to close right then, if it's an organization that is maybe a small business, or you're talking to the decision maker and he doesn't need to run it by anyone else, great time to close. Say something like, if we can set you up to make more money from your current customer base, will you take the next step? Or will you sign up? Or whatever question you like to ask as a close. But I would like to suggest to everyone that will you type of questions, will you do this, are excellent for closing and getting people to commit to an action, because they either say yes or they say no. If they say yes, excellent. That's what we're looking for. If they say no, you can ask amazing questions at that point to find out why. You can say, what is holding you back? You can say, what are your concerns? As you ask these types of questions and they tell you the answer, they're telling you exactly what you need to address. They're telling you exactly where you need to go from there. And without those types of questions, you're just kind of shooting blind and you're not personalizing the message to them. And like I said at the beginning, this is everybody's different, every organization is different. So if we can personalize every message, then it's much more powerful. And the way to personalize is by asking questions and finding their concerns. Don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions to the concerns, because oftentimes the concern they tell you isn't the real concern. So, you don't want to pry. Obviously, you don't want to be a nuisance, but ask follow-up questions. Ask questions like, okay, at this point, from 1 to 10, how close are you to being ready to do this? And they say a 5. You say, well, that's awesome. How can we get that to a higher number? And then they're going to tell you, well, here's my concerns, and this is what is holding me back. Great, let's address that. So as you address those concerns, then you can come back to the will you. Okay, now you can say something like, maybe they have a concern that you can't address right then. Maybe they want one reference from a business or something. You can say something like, okay, let's pretend I get you that reference. I'll go work on it, but I can't do it right now. But let's pretend I get you that reference. Will you take the next step? And they say, well, yeah, if it's a great reference, if they speak glowingly of you, then yeah, I will. And guess what you've done? You've got a commitment right there. You've got it. Now go get it. Now what you got to go do is get the reference, solve whatever problem they have. But they've already committed. Good job. But those will you questions are awesome, and you want to get those commitments and get them to commit to an action. And obviously, the end action is to sign up. Now, if you're talking to an organization who maybe is bigger, maybe isn't going to be ready to sign up right then, and there's going to be more follow-up, or maybe you're talking to someone who has some concerns and they want to do a little bit more research. Maybe they want to watch a video, or they want to talk to their partner, whatever it may be. You still want to make sure there are these 3 confirms, okay? Confirm, confirm, confirm. No matter what, whether you're confirming a close and they're going to sign up, or if you're confirming they're going to watch a video, whatever it is, you want to confirm an action. So confirm what they're going to be doing. Confirm that they're signing up. Help them sign up yourself to make sure that it happens. You want to confirm that they're going to, the action they're going to take is talk to their partner that night. You want to confirm a time frame for that action, and then you want to confirm a follow-up call. So an example would be, you need to talk to your partner? Okay. So when do you think you could talk to your partner? You think you could talk to him tonight? Okay, awesome. So will you talk to your partner tonight then? Okay, great. So if I call you tomorrow at this same time at 12:30, will that work? Yes. Okay, so I'll call you tomorrow at 12:30 and you will have talked to your partner. Excellent. Sounds great. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow at 12:30, and okay, that's it. That type of general flow where you confirmed the action, you confirmed that he's doing it in a certain time frame, and you confirmed the follow-up call. Without doing those three confirms, if you forget one of them, it kind of falls apart. And they're busy. Whether they're in a charitable organization or they're in a business, they're running the company, and man, if they're working at a charity, there's a chance that they have a second job on top of that. So they could be really interested. They could be wanting to get this going. But if you don't confirm, something's going to fall apart. You're going to lose contact with them. It's going to be hard to get a hold of them. Their life's going to get busy, and you're going to kind of have to start from square one again. So at the end of every phone call, confirm. So anyway, I hope this presentation information is at least a little beneficial. And there'll be future trainings I'm going to go over maybe some of the unique aspects of approaching a business and approaching a charity, as well as how to use the websites that we have set up. Anyway, hope this is helpful. Any questions, always let me know. Email, phone call. I'm open to suggestions as well. I want to learn from you guys. And let's go help people save some money and help people make some money.